All right, here we are. Let's do the Cyclopean temple exercise. Here I have Blender open. So I'm just gonna delete stuff, especially the cube there. To select it, right click, delete. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna make a simple temple and we're gonna basically an exercise to get used to it. The left click helps me put this cursor there somewhere, and this is where the next object I'm going to build will appear. I press Shift A, which pops up the add menu so that I can put a primitive there. I'm going to start with a cylinder. Alright, so I'd like it to be flat, so I'm going to scale it down in Z. You see, Z is the blue one. S for scale. If I press Z while I'm doing this, it scales in Z. Now I'm going to press S again to make it bigger. Scale Z again, like this. I can move around it with my middle button to take a look at it. Alright, now let's make columns, and they're going to be cylinders again. Shift A to add a primitive cylinder. Right, so I'm gonna zoom in, control middle click. I want it to be a bit more thin, but a bit more high. So scale and Z again. Oops, it's protruding down there. So if I want to adjust things on the height, I'm gonna put myself in the front view. Now I'm in the front view. I've pressed numpad 1 to be in the front view, but I'm in the front view perspective, which is not useful. So I press numpad 5 to be in a clearly frontal orthogonal view. So now I can put it, I can scale it again, put it right there on top of it. Maybe scale it again. Here. I can press Z for see-through to know exactly where things are. Now I want to put these columns in a circle. I could go into perspective, but moving it around would be a bit complicated because I'd have to deal with the perspective. So once again, I'm going to change view to make it simpler. Top, make sure I'm not in perspective. Ortho here, I pressed 5, numpad 5 for perspective of ortho. Now this is not useful because I can't make out any details. So I'm going to press Z for see-through. So now it's going to be easy to put some columns there. To duplicate this one, I have it selected. Remember, to select is right click. I have it selected. Shift D, and I have a clone. So now I can have fun just copying them around. The moment I do Shift D, I'm in grab mode, meaning that I'm moving it, and since I'm looking at it from the top view, I know it's only moving on the XY plane. Now there could be ways to make this a really regular circle, but for now we're just going to do it with eye view. So I can adjust them around. I select them with the right click, and then press G for grab. Now I can go back in perspective, see what it looks like. Looks fine. I'm going to use this to make also the beginning of a ceiling. Shift D. Now, as you see, I'm in perspective mode, so when I'm grabbing, it goes in a perpendicular plane from what I'm looking at, so that means nothing I can understand. So while I'm moving, I can press Z to constrain it in the Z axis. Here we are. Now I can put something on top of that. I'm going to put it's a cone. Won't be very pretty, but so I go in front view. Ta-da! I scale it. Ta-da! Isn't that beautiful? So I can add maybe just one last thing. A monkey, Shift A for mesh, monkey. Where is it? It's here. So I'm gonna put it right there on front. To rotate it, I press R, and since I'm in the exact right view, it rotates on this axis and not on any axis. Oh, maybe I can put it on the ledge there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And the key things are moving the camera. Remember, going around is the middle button, panning is the shift middle button, and zooming is control middle button or your mouse wheel. And then moving around the cameras is very important. 1 is front camera, 5 is toggle for between perspective and orthographic, 3 is side, 7 is top, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So if I want to move things, I go in the camera. If I want to move things from this view, I go in this view, press G to move things around. But if I want to move it forward or backwards, I go on the right view, press G, move things around. If I want to rotate it, to tilt it from right to left, I go on the front view, rotate. If I want to tilt it from front to right, side view, rotate. I can constrain things. If I want to scale it only in the width direction, scale, but then I press X. Or I can press scale and Y, or sorry, scale and Z. Control Z to cancel. And you can also rotate freeform. If I press R twice, it rotates like on a ball. That can be useful. Constraints work always. Rotate X. Constraints on the X-axis. Alright, now you want to make a screenshot of this. So I have to render it. Maybe I can just press this. So I'm in render mode, meaning that it's rendered as I see it. I don't know if that's gonna work. Can I save this? Yeah, no, this is not a real render. Alright, so let's do it the right way. I need to look at this. I want this to be what my camera sees. So I press Ctrl Alt 0. This is my camera view. You know, you see, this is what the camera sees. If I want to go back to the camera view, I press numpad 0. And this is, if this is not what I want to look at, I can adjust maybe what I see in there. I'm going to bring in another 3D view. I can remove this panel by pressing T, and I can remove it here as well. And here I'm going to just select the camera and move it around, and you see on the left side it's also moving. Okay, so this is a pretty good. Here I have my light. I'm going to put it in front. I'm going to put this mode in rendered so I can see what it looks like. This looks fine. I'm going to do a real render. Press F2. So that's an actual render. Image. Save as image. Save it somewhere. Send that to me. Alright.